Hi everyone. So we are finally getting started. Once again, my name is Akitola. I'm a software engineer based in Lagos. I am co-organizing the AfricodeX session for today, 6th March 2023. So with me is Abdul Martin Adeniji. He's a front-end engineer and code winner. So you'll be taking us through a coding session, a front-end coding session today. So this session is actually a continuation from the previous session we have. This session is recorded and is also being streamed live on YouTube. So you can also check us on YouTube in case or you can also check our YouTube channel in case you missed a couple of things and you want to go back to rewatch or re-listen. So for the previous session we had, I'm going to drop the YouTube link here in case any of us missed it. So you can actually go back to rewatch and catch up with what we discussed on previously. And if you have any questions, you can actually drop them into the chat or wait for some minutes for Abdul to leave done. Then you can ask after the session. So Abdul, you have the floor now. You can start your session.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Abdul Martin, as my co-organizer has introduced before. So we did this introduction to web development the last time, and I introduced us to web development. I talked about HTML. I talked about the journey of how web development got started, and went down to talking about the CSS. Then now we are moving to creating a portfolio. So I'm going to be taking you through the coding session of creating a simple portfolio. So a portfolio where you can keep in your project. For instance, if you're a front-end developer or even a back-end developer, though we are not going to be moving to the back-end part, you can put in your simple project out there. Okay, even if you're not a developer, maybe for other purposes, you can also put in your projects inside your portfolio and host it online and share the link. So we might not be able to finish creating this portfolio today, but what I'm going to do is that I will share the code later on. So you guys can go through the code base and finish it, and maybe later on you can come up and show us what you've done. I know some of you might not be familiar with web development, and some of you might be familiar with web development, but don't worry, this is going to be a simple process, and I'm going to be carrying everyone along. So I am going to share my screen now. I hope everyone can see my screen. So on my screen right here is Visual Studio Code. So Visual Studio Code is an IDE, integrated development environment, for writing codes of web development. So you can also use this to write write other programs like Python, other C++, other programs out there. So what we are going to be concentrating on right now is the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript part. Okay, so we're going to get started. And I also mentioned in the last class that the best browser to use when you're coding or when you're doing a web development project is Chrome, because this is what most developers used when trying to view what they've done. So that's what we're going to be using. Also, I have something right here inside VS Code. So this makes that's why it is called an integrated development environment, because it makes life simpler. It makes the life of a developer simpler. So it brings in extensions, suggestions, and all this kind of thing. So I have one right here, which is go live. So this go live, what it's going to do for me is it's going to, as you can see, if I over it, it's going to say click to run a live server. So I don't need to go open my my HTML file. So the normal way we do this before is to, after creating your HTML file, you go open it outside with Google Chrome, which I'm going to show you now. So after doing that, I have the file right here. So I'm going to open this. So you open it with Google Chrome. Let me open this with Google Chrome. Then after doing that, you go back to your text editor or your IDE, then you write some codes, you save it, then you go to your browser and reload. But right now, what that go live is doing, is that instead of me going through all the process, it is creating a server, a live server for me on my laptop. And what that does is anytime I write some code and I save it, it's going to reload the browser by itself. Okay, so right now I have not written anything. I have not written any code, so you're not going to see anything right here. So let me go write some code. Let me open my. So let me write some code. Okay, so as you can see, some suggestions are coming up as I am writing. So this, I click on this this Emmet is another thing VS Code have. So this completes my code for me. So these are just snippets of code. It completes the snippets of code. So if I click on this, you can see it brings everything I need, the simple things I need to create an HTML page. So here you can see the doc type. Doc type meaning you're telling the browser that this kind of document is an HTML, and the language English. Then we have the head, and also we have the body, and in everything is within the HTML tag. So these are called tags, like I explained the last time. We also have the title. So everything on the head is just information about our website. Okay, so everything in the body is what you're going to be seeing in the browser, except from the site to which you're going to be seeing at the header of the browser. You're not going to be seeing any part of this head again in your browser. So this is just the simple thing I need for to create my website. So let me just write a simple thing using the P tag. So the P tag is the paragraph tag. So let me just say let me write welcome to the web development class, and I save that. I have saved this, and if I go down to my browser now, you can't see anything unless I reload my browser. Then you can see something in my browser. So if I don't reload, that takes too much time. So going back, saving, anytime you write a little thing, you save, then you come back here, you reload to see what you want to see, to see what you've done. But with this live server, I'm going to cancel this now. So I'm going to cancel this, and I'm going to create a live server. So go live, I'm going to click on the go live, and this is going to create, it has started the server. So it's going to open this on my browser. It's going to open the server on my browser. So anytime I save right here, it's going to automatically help me reload my browser to show what I have done. Okay, so that's what it's trying to do right here. Okay, so as you can see, that's what it has done right here. So I think because it's opened it in the Internet Explorer because that's my default browser right now. But I can also copy this link and open it. And I can also copy this link and open it in my Google Chrome. So I use my Google Chrome instead of my Internet Explorer. So as you can see, when I copied that link, if it's that I have done it for what I did before, that didn't create a server. That's just opened it directly from my computer. So if I did that for the last one I did, if I copied the link and paste it in another browser, it's not going to open that page. But right now, as you can see, it has opened it. I'm going to write something. So let's write another thing. So let's say making a portfolio. And once I save and I go back, as you can see, I don't need to reload my browser before it shows. Before I needed to reload my browser, but now that I've created a server, I have used that extension, the Go Live extension on my VS Code. I don't need to go through all that. Okay. So let's get started with making our portfolio. So the first thing we need to do is to make a nav bar. So we're going to make a nav bar. That's the first thing we're going to do. So I'm going to write in the tag header. So inside the tag header, that is our header. That's our nav bar. That's where our nav bar is going to be.
Yes.
Then do we have any questions so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm only seeing the VLC code. I'm not seeing the browser. I don't know.
The browser. Okay, anytime I change to the browser, you can't see it.
I can't see anything. I'm only seeing the VLC code.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I'm going to fix that right now. Okay. So can you see my browser now?
Yes, yes, yes. I can see it now.
Okay, thank you very much. So now I'm going to try to make a header. So after writing these are tags. So this is the tag header. Then I'm going to write nav. Then inside our nav, so the all this HTML5 tags. So this I'm writing the header, the nav. These are HTML5 tags. Okay, so this nav means the nav bar, the navigation. So where we can, when you open a website, you see a nav bar on top where you can go to home, maybe about us, and things like that. So in your portfolio, you might need this nav bar for you to go to home. You might have a contact page for people to be able to contact you. You might have an about me page where people can know more about you. You might have your work page where people can see, or your project page where people can see your project. So this is what we want to do. So people can just click on it and quickly go there. That's why we need this nav bar. So after that, I'm going to create a list. So this is called an unordered list. So this is the tag for an unordered list. So we have two different type of lists. We have the ordered list, that's the numbered one, and we have the unordered list. So this unordered list is not numbered. Okay, so we have the numbered list, and we have the one that is not numbered. So this now we can, so in HTML, we can do something. We have something called IDs. We have something called class. Okay, so ID is, so this ID and class is like an identification to identify a particular thing. Okay, so ID, you can only use one ID per element. So for instance, I can only use, for instance, I can just use an ID for this. I can give this an ID, and I can say the ID is equals to maybe I can even say the ID is equals to header. Okay, so I can say the ID is equals to header. This ID, I cannot use it anywhere else. For instance, I can't say this, I can't give this an ID again and say this ID is going to be equals to header, because it is specific to an element. Okay, but for the class, different elements can have the same class. So I can give this a class and say the class is navbar, and also give this a class of navbar. So that's not going to throw any error at me. Okay, so this can have the class can have a different element can have the same class, while for IDs it's only specific to one element. So you can use just one ID for one element only. Okay, so I'm going to remove this. This is just to show an example. So this identifications, why we need it is because when we are writing our CSS, it is to identify a particular element we want to style. Okay, so in our CSS, we need to style some elements, we need to style some things, and to do that, we need a way to identify those things. And the way to identify is using, either we use the tag name, or we use this class or ID. For instance, we might use this navbar or this unordered list in different places, and I want a way to be able to, you know, identify this specific unordered list. And to do that, I have to give it an identification. That's why I'm giving it an ID. So for instance, I can say I am using I can use an unordered list here, and also use it here again. So if in my CSS, if I should tell my CSS that I want to give a specific design to this unordered list, I want to give a specific design to an unordered list, and I want it to be this one specifically. Right now, I can't do that because this doesn't have any identification. Okay, so it does not have any identification. So it's going to give the design to this one and this one. But once I give it maybe a class, because two different things two different elements can have the same class, doesn't mean I cannot give a class to, I cannot give a class to just one specific element. I can do that also. So I can give this class to this and not use this class again. And not use this class in this other place. So I can give this one another class. So let's say this one, I say the class name is let's give it nav1. Let's say nav1, and we say this one, the class is nav2. So anytime I want to make my design in my CSS, and I tell the CSS to give a specific design or a specific style to this nav1, it is going to give it to only this unordered list and not do that with this. Or if I say give it to maybe I write UL, which is unordered list, and I tell it, okay, give it to give it to the unordered list, it's going to give it to both of them. But if I say give it to nav1, it is going to give it to just only this one and not touch this one. Then I can pick this one also, nav2, and give it the design I desire. Okay, so this is just showing you an example for you to understand that we have classes and ideas. So this unordered list have that's a child called li. Okay, so this is when we want to, this is where we want to mention the list. Okay, so what do we want to be in our list? So what I am just doing now is copying and pasting. So this is, let me write this as home. We need to say home. This would be let's say about me, so people can know about the person that owns that portfolio. This would be let's say projects. So this would be the project page. So this now, sorry, before I move on, so this, there's something called an anchor tag. Okay, so this is going to give an anchor tag as an attribute called href. So this href allows you to maybe click on something and it will take you to another page. I'm going to show you an example. Let's just finish this first. So let's do li again, and let's say contact me. Okay, so we have those four things right here. We have the about me, we have the home, we have the project, and we have contact me. Okay, so if I save this now and go to my browser, okay, there's something wrong. Okay, I think there was something wrong with the server. So now you can see the list I just created. Sorry about that. Okay, so you can see the lists I just created: the home, the about me, the project, the contact me, and as you can see, it is unordered. That means it is not numbered. If I wanted it to be ordered, maybe numbered 1, 2, 3, I'll just put in OL. OL means ordered. Sorry. So as you can see now, it is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So I'm trying to get. Can anyone tell me a website, maybe a website you've seen that has a nav bar? Anyone? Okay, no. Okay, so let's just move on. But please, can we make this interactive? Okay, so it's an interactive class because this is a coding session. So I'm going to ask some questions which you have to be answering, and also you can ask questions when you don't really get what I'm saying. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, now I've created this, and as you have all seen, this is not the way it is going to look like. Okay, so your navbar is not going to just look as plain as this. You've not gone to your website and you just see a very, very plain website, like no design, nothing. It's not enticing. Okay, so they need to put in designs there. That's why we need the CSS, okay, cascading style sheets, to style your website. Before I move on, we want this to be a link. We want it to be so that once I click on it, it takes me to another page, or it takes me to a part of my page. It might be a one-page thing, and it might be a very long website. So instead of me scrolling and looking for things, I can just click on this, and it takes me to a part in on that website, on that one-page website. So now to do that, we need something called the anchor tag. So this is the anchor tag, which has this attribute href. Okay, so contains a URL or a URL fragment that the hyperlink points to. Okay, so this is one of the use of, as you can see, this is one of the use of Visual Studio Code. So it explains things to you. That's why it says it makes the work of a developer easier. As you can see, I've been writing things since I don't have to write it completely. I just have to click on it and it completes it for me. So if it was maybe, let's say, Notepad or things like that, you have to complete it yourself. Okay, so that's why you need this text editors and IDEs for better response to be able to code better. Okay, so before we move on, I want to touch on this title. So this title here, as you can see, it is documents here, and this is it right here. So it is our title is always here, and right now it is named document. So I am going to remove this and put in portfolio, since we are creating a portfolio. So as you can see, it has changed to portfolio. We can even put in a logo here, but since we don't have a logo right now, we're not going to do that. As you can see, this is Zoom and it has a logo. This is Gmail, it has a logo. So we can also decide to put in our own logo here, and it's also going to be on this what's it called, on the head. Okay, so the head is where the information about the website is, while the body is all the content of that website. Okay, so now I am going to do this right home, and the href, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it point to just for to show you, just as an example. Okay, so right now what I did here is I put in the URL, okay, and I tell it that it should point to google.com. So anytime I click on home, it is going to take me to the Google website. So let me do that now. And as you can see, it took me to the Google website. So I'm going to do that to others too. So I'm just trying to make them a link so they can link to somewhere. So right now, I'm just going to change this to, so it's not going to link anywhere right now because we've not really created our website. So I'm just going to put in a placeholder. So hash. And now if I click on it, it's not going to take me anywhere. you can see it's not taking me anywhere because in here, I did not put in any link. I did not tell it to take me to anywhere. I can just decide to put in maybe a website URL so that it can take me to that website, or I can put in maybe an ID to take me to that part of my page. You understand better when we get to that part, when we've done when we finished creating our website, and now we want to link to a specific part of our website. Okay, so now we've done this, and the next thing we want to do now, let's just give this a class of navbar. Okay, so I'm just giving it an identification. So this class I am giving it is an identification, so called header navbar. Okay, now let's move to CSS. So let's just, since we've created this now, let's design it. So let's design what we've done here. Okay, so I'm going to move to CSS now. So CSS can be written inside our HTML page. This is called inline CSS, and it can be written outside the HTML page also. Okay, so this is called external CSS. For we to be able to link to our CSS outside, if it's an external CSS, for us to be able to do that, we're going to need to maybe create a link. So we have to use the link tag. So we have to use the link tag, and we have to use this we have to use this href to link to that CSS. Since they are inside the same folder, as you can see here, we have the HTML, the JS, the JavaScript file, and the CSS file. We are just going to write style.css, and this is going to link, is going to connect. As you can see, it's already even bringing it up. So this is going to connect our HTML page with our CSS page. Okay. So now let's move to CSS. Okay, now in CSS, let me just bring this, just put this, yeah, okay. So you can see them side to side. Let me close this. Okay. Okay. So now in CSS, the way we give our elements design, for instance, if I should say body, this is, let's just say body. This is an a tag name, an element called body. So this is body. This is the whole body. This is all. This is like, this is where our content is. So everywhere here you're seeing is the body of the website. Okay. So now inside, after writing that body, we're now going to write tags, the curly braces. So inside the curly braces, this is where our different codes for CSS is going to be. Okay, so this is where we're going to be designing, we're going to be styling our website. So we can say, we can give it a background color. So we're going to give it the background color, and let's say we give it the background color of blue. And as you can see, the website has changed to blue. I can tell it that the color of of the text is, let's say, white. Sorry. Okay, now it's changing it. Okay, so the default color for a link is blue. So that's why this isn't changing. So now I can change the size of the text. I can give it a size. So the way we define sizing in CSS is using something called pixels. Okay, so it's the short form is PX. So we use PX in CSS. So I'm going to change it to, let's say, let's give it 20 pixels, and let's see what's going to give us. What that's going to give us. And as you can see, this is bigger. Okay, so as you can see, this is now bigger. But now what I'm writing what I'm writing here is targeting every single thing. So every single thing is targeting everything, all the children of the body. So it's going to target every single thing in here. But if I want to target this only, maybe I have a lot of children, and I want to target this part only, I'll just write in UL. And as you can see what happened. Just the UL part changed to blue. So that's not what we're going to be doing. So also, if I want to give it, maybe if I want to give it a default color, if I want to give it a default styling, I want to choose everything. I'm just going to write star, and I can just do background color too. And let's say let's just give it this. And as you can see, everything changed. So this star is picking up every single thing, everything. So this is like a default. So it's I'm taking everything just like the body did. So now let's just remove this. Then I am going to, instead of doing that, I want to go straight to picking the navbar. So if we have a navbar for us, the class header navbar. So if we want to design, an if you want in CSS, we want to choose a class. So we want to use a class to give something a design. We're going to write dot first before writing that the name, that class name. If it was IDs, we're going to use hash. So if it was ID, we're going to use hash. If it is as it is class name, it's going to be dot. So now I'm going to write navbar. And then we're going to start styling this. Okay. So what I want to do now is to spread this out. Okay. So I want to spread this out. I don't want it to be this way. So I don't want it to follow themselves like this. So now the way I am the property. So these are called properties. What I'm writing inside here are called properties. Okay. So the property I want to give this, the thing I am choosing to make them spread out is the display. Okay, so the way it is displayed now, it is the normal way, which is the display block. Okay, so now I want it to spread out, to be this way, the about me to be in this place, the project to be in this place, the contact me to be in this place. So the way I'm going to do that is to write display. So the default display is block. As you can see, block. And after writing your code, you put a semicolon after you write, before you write the next one. Okay, after writing that, you put in your semicolon to close it, then you write the next code. So the default one is the display block. And if I go back, as you can see, nothing has changed. But if I put in flex, so I am changing I'm changing the way this is. Okay, so I am changing the way it looks. So now, if, as you can see now, the home is here, the about me is here, the project project is here, the contact me is here. Okay, so that's the work of display flex. It's going to so in combination with float and position determines the type of boxes, the type of box or boxes that are generated for the elements. Okay, so this is going to spread out. This is going to reduce the width of each of these things that are here. Before, everything was in full width. As you can see, before when I gave it a background, it showed the background from here down here. So that's the full width. So it's taking 100% width. But right now, they are coming together. So the home is not taking the 100% width. It's just taking a space of its own. Okay, so it's just taking this space, this small space it has. The about me too is taking this small space. The project is taking this small space. The contact me is taking this space too. So if I should do, let's say, background color. So as you can see, this is just the space they are taking. So they are not taking that long space anymore. It's just taking this space. Okay, so the OUL is taking just this space, not that long one again. So I'm going to remove this. This is just to give you an example of what I meant. So the next thing I'm going to do is text decoration, none. So what this text decoration, sorry, that's not working. Oh, okay, sorry about that. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so the next thing I am going to do now is to give them spacing. Okay, so I want the spacing in between this. I don't want it to be close to each other anymore. Okay, so I'm going to give it something called padding. So let's give it a padding of let's say 15 pixels. Oh no. So let's say padding, right? Let's give it padding right of 15 pixels. So now this isn't close to here anymore. So later on, I'm going to show you. Let me just show you right immediately. Let's do an inspect, and okay. So here now, this is the box model. Okay. So this box model is just to explain what this padding is, what the border is, what margin is. Okay, so this now is, let me increase, let me just give this. Um, uh, okay. And I'm just using this to show you an example of something. I'm just giving, I explain all this, and I'm just using it to show an example. Okay, so now this here is what we've written. So this is just our element. This is the padding. This is the border, and this is margin. So this margin is the space outside this border. So if we give, this is the border right here. This, what you're seeing is the border right here. This is the border. This padding is the space within the border, while the margin is the space outside the border. So if we give it, let's give it the margin of 100. As you can see, it is the space outside this border. So from the top here to here is 100, here, 100, here, 100. Okay. So this outside the border is the margin. So if you're giving something a margin, it is going to just pick that place outside the border and give it that margin, that spacing. Then we have the border here. So this is the border. Then we have the padding. So if you want to give it a spacing in here, is going to be a spacing within this border. Then we also have the element itself. Okay, so that's just showing you an example. So we have this padding here is saying that it should give it, it should be 50% from the 50 pixels from the top, 50 pixels from the left, 50 pixels from the right, and 50 pixels from the bottom. That is what this is saying. So if I just want to give it a spacing, I just want to allow it have a spacing just from here to here. I don't want to give it a spacing at the top or the bottom. I'm just going to do padding. I can do padding top, I can do padding. As you can see, there's padding left, there's padding top, there's padding bottom, there's padding right. So I'm going to choose padding left. That's the padding from the left. Okay, and I'm going to give it 10 pixels. Okay, so I think that's okay now. So the padding from the left is 10 pixels. Okay, so now so there's something called a flex direction. So where do you want it to go to? Where do you want it to flow to? Okay, so this flex direction is where do you want it to flow to? This flex direction column, do you want it to be a column or do you want it to be a row? Okay, so if we do this, and there's also this column, as you can see, it's back to the way it is. This is a column, and now we can do this row. So we want it to be a row. It's already a row. So the default is that it goes to a row. But if we don't want it to be a row and want to use the display flex, we're just going to change the flex direction to column. Okay. So after doing that, then sorry, come in. To do okay. So I want to explain this first. So we also have this we also have something called text align. So this text align is going to align this whether to the center, we have left, we have right. Okay, so this is going to put this to whether it be the center, the left or the right. So if you want it to push it down to the right, it's going to push it down to the right. If you want it to be at the left, you can say text align left. If it was in the center before, you can say text align left. And if you want it to be in the center, you can do that. So let me just do. So we also have this thing called justify content. So this justify content also is going to bring this element to, so that text align is just for text, while the justify element, justify content is for any element. So it's going to bring that element either to the center, I can change it to right, and it's going to take it to the right. I can say left, and it's going to take it back to the left. But at default, it is on the left. So let's change it back to center. So I want it to be at the center. Then the next thing I want to do now is to so the next thing I want to do now is to do pick the header, and I want to pick for me to see if this is going to. Okay. So yeah, what I just did is to give it let me comment this out. So to comment, I'll just put, I can just say control then the /. That's the shortcut for comment, or I can just write this myself. Okay, so that's the way to comment. So if I save this now, and you can see this is back. This dot right here is back there. So I'm telling it that the list type style type, which before what was there was I think disk, and this is the default that was there before, but I don't want anything to be there. I don't want it to show anything, so I'm going to do none. And now it's gone. So I'm going to pick in, so I want to pick this itself, the href, and tell it that I'm sorry, the anchor tag, and tell it that I don't want any I don't want it to underline this. So what I'm going to do now is just do this, then A. So what I'm doing here is I am picking the class, then the child of that class. I can just do I can just do A. I can just do A. But if I have another A, let's say I have another A right here. Let's say I have another A here. And I do test. Let's do test. And let's say I give it a font size of 30 pixels. So this, I told you pixels is the way we measure in CSS. So as you can see, this test is bigger and this is also bigger. That means it is picking all the A's. But what if I just want to pick only those 4 A's and I don't want to pick this? So what I'm going to do is I can do dot header the underscore navbar, then list. Then what I'm saying here is that take this class, then take the child of the class, and take the child of the class, which is this list, then take the childs of this list and give it the font size 30. Okay, so it's going to give only this one because this is the only one that has lists as its parent, and that has this class as its parent. So these are called parents. This is a child and this is a grandchild. Okay. So now if I go check, as you can see, this is bigger and this is still small because this one doesn't have this as its parent. So it's not going to affect it. So let's remove that since we're not using it anymore. This is just for testing. I want to say, okay, let's leave it as that. Let's now say text decoration. So I don't want it to have any decoration. So I give it none. So it's going to remove the underline. So text decoration none. So that removes the underline. And as you can see, the underline is no longer there. I can say color, sorry. So I can do so instead of using instead of writing white, I'm using the hash code for that color, or the RGB. There's the RGB code. This is I think this is blue, green, and red. Sorry, I've forgotten the way it is arranged, but this is blue, green, red. So if you manipulate these numbers here, I can do RGB. Yeah, sorry, red, green, blue. Sorry about that. Red, green, blue. So this red, this is the full red. 255 is the highest. Then green then we have blue, and this right here is white. Okay, so if I do, maybe I can manipulate this number to give me different other colors. Okay, so I'm not going to choose white. I'm going to do, just use that to show you an example. So this is the hash code for black. And now, as you can see, it is black. So I am also going to give it a spacing. If you remember, so I'm saying this time I'm going to be doing padding right. So this time I'm going to be doing padding right. And let's give it a 20 pixels padding right. And as you can see, there's a space. Let's increase the space a little, 30. I think that's okay. So now, I'm going to, let's say, what other thing can I do? So let's just give it a background. Let's just give it a background. I'm going to be using RGBA. So RGBA, red, green, blue, and alpha. So the alpha is the opacity. So now I'm going to do 0, because this is black. So if everything is 0, that's black. 0, 0, 0, 0. And if I do, let's say I do 1. So that's full black. Okay. So 1 is full black. Sorry, this is not when I want to give background to. I'm going to give it to the header. So I am going to change the opacity, let's say 0.3. So I don't want it to be full black, and as you can see how it is. Let me increase this to 0.4. Okay, 16. So box. Okay, so this is just, as you can see before, without this, there was a spacing. Sorry, just a minute. Okay, so let me comment this out. Okay, so after this now, I will round up the call and we can continue later on. Let me just comment this out. And as you can see, there's a spacing in here. So we don't want that spacing. That's just a default spacing. So we don't want that spacing. That's why we're putting this. So we're telling it we don't want any default padding, any default margin. And we're telling it the box sizing, you should use the normal border box. You should use the box model. Okay. So let me change this to white. Okay. I can give this, let's give it height of about let's say 20. That's too much. Okay. So let's give this a padding. So yeah, if we do 100, let's say I do 100. So everything here is 100. So this is view, the viewport's height. Okay. So this is the viewport's height. So it is 100. That means 100% of this. That is what we're giving the header. But since we're not giving it an 100%, so we want it to just use 10% of that viewport. That's why we're giving it 10 VH. So that's another way of that's another measurement, another way of measurement. So let's give this a padding top just to bring this down. I mean this. So just to bring it down, I'm going to do padding top. And let's do let's also do 50 pixels. Much. 30. Okay, this is about it. Okay. So we have come to the end of this. This is just a simple navbar. This is just part of our portfolio. This is just to show you how to create a navbar, just a simple navbar. Maybe next time we go through animations, so transitions of how maybe when we load our page, uh, navbar can transition from being not visible to being visible. So, and animations also. So thank you very much for listening, and good night to you all.
Hi everyone. Thank you for listening. I don't know if anyone from the audience actually have any questions. We are way past time, so if anyone have any question, you can just ask. If not, we'll have to round up the call here. I'll take that as a no. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for attending this wonderful session, and Abdul, thank you for taking us. Thank you for taking your time to take us through front end development.
I must applaud your efforts and your teaching skills. They were actually wonderful. So thank you so much, Abdul. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your skills. Bye everyone.